Okay, everybody who's live on Facebook group, we're doing Realtor Safety course, so I'm gonna hand it over to our retired police officer, Mr. Robbie from University Park, and here we go.
All right, so I'm Robbie or Robert, just retired last month. I did my 20 years and then moved on from police work, so I just kind of put this together pretty quick last night. So, and usually, I know when you give a presentation, you want to have some sort of attention-grabbing graphic. So I threw my dog in there.
We like that.
We like them.
So this is just really kind of basic stuff for the most part, or maybe it is to me. But so the first thing that came to mind for me is keeping everything lit. Show properties during the daytime if you can. Avoid doing it at night. If you do have to show in the evening time when it's starting to get dark, turn on all the lights, open the shades, pull the drapes back, all that kind of stuff so people can see you in there. There's a problem. It's a good idea to let some of your office mates know where you're going to be, when you're going to be there, what time you're going to be expected to be done and back in the office. These are just kind of good, really good tips for life in general for the most part. So check in, it kind of goes off that last one. I think it's probably a good idea to have, if you're showing a client a property, have them meet you at your office, get a copy of their driver's license. I know that's not always practical, it doesn't work out that way a lot. But if you could do something like that ahead of time, that way somebody knows who you're with, all right? So if they know who you're with, if something happens or you come up missing, or at least there's a starting point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
You could always ask for it at the house too, you know, to take a picture of it with your phone and text it to me
Definitely.
and text me what time you should be done and then when you're done. Because if you don't text me when you're done, I'm gonna start calling 911.
There used to be an app.
I don't know, let's just use photos for now, and if we figure out a cool app, then we'll come up with that.
So kind of, it's repetitive. Have a buddy. If you can bring two people to the office, you know, I have several friends that are realtors. I know that doesn't usually work out, but if you can, that's great. If not, again, let your friends, let your coworkers, let them know where you're going to be, when you're going to be back. I know a friend of mine, she has a sign out board like this with all the realtors on it. And so they just write it, they whiteboard where they're going to be, what time they are leaving, what time they're expected to be back. What else there's something else on that board that they just basically slide back and forth, right? Update it, keep it updated. It's easy to get lazy and forget to go erase that off and then go on to the next client, forget to put it down. But that's a good idea, good visual that you know, another coworker could walk by and see and like, oh, you know what? I haven't heard from so and so, and it's been 2 hours, right? So something like that. It's a good reminder. So during open houses, that's bad grammar, but it's not over until it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just would imagine you just never assume that everyone is gone until you've gone through, like as an officer, we go through and clear a house, right? We don't assume anything is empty when we find open doors or get alarm calls or things like that. Don't forget to check the backyards, the storage closets, little things like that. Maybe it's a little different, but I've caught bad guys hiding in the trash can in houses. Little cubby hole closets like there would be for in a kid's room. That's what I remember one I'm thinking of, like they were in the corner of a stairwell, just a little cubby hole, hiding in there, little places like that. So just mostly be vigilant. If you can pay attention to who's coming into the house and maybe kind of keep a mental check of, okay, 1, 2, 3, there's 8 people that have come in. I know you're probably busy walking around talking to people and selling, but if you can kind of out of the corner of your eye, keep an eye on who's coming in and who's leaving, if you can kind of keep a running total, it'll help you whenever you go to clear the house later on. So again, this is roughly repetitive, but keeping track of your colleagues, I think that's probably the most important thing. That's why I put it in here so many different times, because that's going to be an easy asset for you to have in your back pocket, just to let someone know. You can call them, you can text them, you can do everything nowadays, right? So somebody can keep up with you. Same things I already talked about. Bringing up the rear, this is just a good idea for safety in general. Let the clients walk in front of you. Say, hey, you know, the master bathroom is this way, and let them go ahead of you, so they're not walking behind you. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. So, and then just don't, like I said, don't leave them, direct them. Just give them direction, right? And then you bring up the rear. You can kind of keep an eye on things that way a little bit better. So some self-defense things. If something does happen, hopefully that never happens in your career, but the eyes, neck, and groin are the best places to strike hard and fast and then run away. You don't have to engage into a fight unless you're competent in that, but it's kind of like, I don't know if you've watched Cobra Kai recently, strike hard, strike fast, right? Same thing. If something's starting to get uncomfortable or somebody maybe tries to grab you, those are the 3 most vulnerable points on every single person. I mean, poke them in the eye. Or when I teach self-defense class, we teach gouge your eye with your thumb. Oh, right in there. If somebody like grabs a hold of you, right, and they want to grab you or put their arms around you like in a bear hug type of thing, if you can get one arm, jab it in that eyeball, they'll let go. Or in that little notch in your throat right here, they'll let go really fast. And then the groin's obviously pretty sensitive. So, you probably already do this. All the realtors I know do, but just in case you don't, take your own car there, meet the clients there, so you're not trapped in a car with them, going 60 miles an hour down the road and can't get out. And then don't forget to lock your car either.
I am so guilty of that. Oh. My last car locked itself, and my new car does not lock itself.
I have another one about locking your car here in a minute.
Yeah, Renee.
So if you can arrive early, I think you can be there ahead of time. If you have cell service, because there's still lots of developing areas all around here that there's just not real good cell service, right? Trees are in the way, construction equipment's in the way, tall buildings are around, something can block the cell service. So make preparations for that. It could be showing a property inside of a commercial building, there's thick walls, maybe they doesn't have all the Wi-Fi set up in there because the building's vacant, so you might not have good service inside there. So just know your coverage ahead of time. And if you can kind of take like mental reminders as you're going out, showing properties, realize, hey, this area of, I don't know, McKinney, the service is really poor. Or if you can keep mental, I always keep a notepad in my truck. I keep one with me all the time, so I write down weird things like that. Just when I think it and I write it, it helps keep it locked in there for me. So fight or flight. Obviously, if you can get out, just leave, avoid, run, and run away screaming. Especially if you're like in a neighborhood, scream as loud as you can as you're running away. Someone's going to see that. Someone's going to hear it. And probably call the cops. So, and if the police department gets a call of, hey, there's some guy chasing a lady down the street and she's screaming her lungs off, the police are probably going to get there pretty darn quick, unless you're in Dallas, maybe.
Right.
So always have an out. Always know where your exits are. If you go back to the one where I said try to arrive at the house or the property early. If it's a house, usually they're typically like 2 entry and exits, right? Or maybe 3 through the garage. I would say unlock all of them. When you get there ahead of time, unlock them all. I know it kind of leaves you a little bit vulnerable because someone can come in that you're not paying attention to, but it also gives you multiple outs. You have multiple places to get out if you start getting uncomfortable or if something starts to go bad. You can run that way, and the back door's over there. I can run this way, and the garage is here, and the front door is over here. Just gives you multiple outs. So just pay attention to those kinds of things. Y'all have any examples of any time feeling uncomfortable or anything weird happening while you're out showing properties? What is it?
Well, I think we're talking about last week. You think you were here. I'm a old company. I got a call because I'd been at the office and a guy had come in and wanted to look at a property. And so they called me because I had just left. And so I was like, yeah, I'll show it. It's fine. So we scheduled it, showed it. My daughter was with me and she was probably 8 at the time,
Mhm.
so she was just, so it's about, maybe 9. Whenever I got to the property, I went in and turned on all the lights and everything, cause we were the only ones there, and it was probably 5 in the afternoon or so. And so, then these guys show, and I tell her, you stand right here by the door and don't you move, you know,
Mhm.
and I gave her the car key and I told her, here's the panic button, that's what you're gonna hit. And she's like, okay, well, these guys showed up thinking it's one guy, 4 guys got out of the car. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna stand right here with you.
Mhm.
And they came up, they were nice, came up, but they were foreigners, and they
Mhm.
spoke with accents you could not understand. And I mean, I didn't know, I had never met them before or anything, and they just
Sure.
walked into the office. And so, I just told them, you know, y'all go on, look around, and let me know if you have any questions. And I stood right next to her the whole time.
Yeah.
And then they got done, they left, I shut the door behind me, locked it, and went through, turned off all the lights, came back out, and they were gone, which was fine. But, I mean, it was fine. They ended up actually in the house, but, you know, it made me
It
nervous.
just makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did. It
And
really
that's what I've been told from several realtor friends also, that just situations just like that.
Because you were expecting one person to show up, and they show up, and I mean, 4 guys of all people, it was like, oh my gosh.
Sure.
You know?
Is there a process that you pre-qualify people, or not qualify, but
It is like a pre-qualification,
Pre-screening.
yeah,
Yeah.
pre-screening. Yes, we do. Yes, we're supposed to, but a lot of agents, I mean, as much as I drill it in, will get really excited about a lead and just like, okay, I'm on my way. I'll
Yeah.
meet you right there. And they don't really think about, well, do you have a pre-qualification? Have you been speaking with a lender? Have you worked with anybody? And they'll just run out and show the property. And that's kind of like our industry, right? Speed to lead. We have to hurry up and get there.
Sure.
Otherwise, somebody else gets the deal. But I mean, I've done that before where I just ran out, and I've asked for a driver's license when it's just a man and myself. And only once did one guy was like, well, I don't have one. And I'm like, well, I can't take you into this property with, we're like at an apartment complex, you
Yeah.
know? I'm like, I can't, well, it was a condo, but it was for sale. And I'm like, well, I can't take you into a property without, you know, identification. It's a safety matter. And he got really angry.
Mm.
And then, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go. And, you know, when you get an ID, you can give me a call. He never called me back, but maybe he was just trying to get me into the apartment complex.
Maybe.
He was just mad or offended that I asked for an ID. I don't know. Either way, I didn't really care. He never called me back.
Maybe he had someone that he wanted to see in there.
Yeah,
Work cases like that.
really.
Or they could bring a realtor to let them in because it's gated or something and they can't get in.
Really?
And then they ditch you so they can go to who they were actually looking for.
Oh, dang.
Well, and I mean,
That's
like, for
creepy.
us, I think, you know, I mean, our pictures are plastered everywhere, all
Yeah.
over social media, all over the internet, all, you know, company websites, everything. And so it's, at times, I mean, younger people, it's uncomfortable, you know,
Mhm.
because they know exactly what you look like, and you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
and did they target you? I mean, you know, are they specifically going for you because of how you look at that, you know?
There's a lot of stalkers out there.
Yeah.
Scary.
So same kind of thing. Survey the area. When you pull up, just pay attention. Like I really could have boiled it down with just pay attention to the surroundings. Right? Is that street light out? You know, are the streets lit? Are there kids running up and down the street playing? You know, just anything like loitering. People loitering on the corner. That should be a big red flag right there. If you're especially in a residential neighborhood, some random person just standing around, not really doing anything. Obviously not exercising. They don't have any kids that they're watching, you know, that should be a big red flag for sure. And then pay attention to hiding places. A lot of people forget about, you know, the shrubs in front of the houses are up this tall. Anybody can hide and duck down behind those kinds of things. Usually they're trimmed up, so pay attention to the bottom, you can see feet. That's why I always tell everybody, look at the bottoms of things like that, you can see feet. Or same thing, a car as you're walking up, you can see feet underneath the car on the other side where they might be trying to hide. Or behind on the other side of the mailbox, or you know, anything like that. And make sure when you, I don't know, this is more like maybe for police related, but we never park where we can get blocked in, right? In case you have to leave in a hurry. So the same thing, I've kind of felt like the same thing probably applies to you guys. You don't want to pull in a driveway where the client can pull in right behind you. Now you're stuck and you're trapped. So I think that's just kind of a good thing to avoid. And then don't get lost. No, I mean, know where you're going. It's so easy nowadays with GPS. You just plug in the address and head that way. But the flip side of that is you're not, since you know Siri's fixing to tell me, 500 feet turn right, you're not paying attention to all the landmarks that you used to if you were driving 20 years ago and you didn't have GPS. I don't know if you noticed, but you probably subconsciously were paying attention to, there's a McDonald's on this corner over here, there's a park over here that I know is by this house that I'm going to. You paid attention to those things probably without realizing it, and now nobody does. Now, I can't tell you how many people that are just lost. Right? They get turned around from their car as they get out of their car. They can't figure out anything, where to go, and it's only 200 feet down the road from them. But they don't pay attention to any landmarks. They don't pay attention to, does this house that I just passed, does it have a flag hanging from the front? Is there a wreath on the door? Just any little thing like that is a good mental marker. It's really that's all it's for.
Okay.
Points of interest, things like that. Just know where you're going. I mean, I know time's money, so it's hard to go stake out where you're going and know, so you can know the area before you get there. That doesn't always work, but if you have multiple properties and they're in close proximity, maybe going from between one to, before you come to the office, you could swing by another one and just drive by. You don't have to stop, but just drive by and take a look at the surrounding area. Little things like that will definitely keep you a little bit more sharp. So this is the biggest thing, I think, in my 20 years that I dealt with realtors, was thieves. That was the biggest thing. Showing clients in the house, and then 2 hours later after the open house, they come home and say, hey, my Rolex is gone, or my kid's iPad or Xbox is missing. I'm sure y'all dealt with that in your careers, I'm sure.
Prescription medication.
Prescription meds, yeah, that was a big one too, for sure. I should have put that on there, but that's definitely a big one. But that's probably the biggest thing that I ever dealt with when I was a detective, when I was an officer, it doesn't matter. That's the biggest thing right there, was theft. There's not a whole lot of cases that I know of, at least in the DFW, of like assaults and rapes taking place. Not to say that that does not happen, because it can, and it has. It's just not very prevalent, right? So this was the number one thing right here. So carry less. If you can, leave your purse and your car in your trunk though. Leave your laptop in there. Only thing I would bring is your phone, and obviously your car key. But expensive watches, anything like that, jewelry, no need to be flashy and give people a reason to say, hey, that's a nice watch, and knock you down, take your watch and take off running or something. So just carry less if you can. Same thing, know your escape routes. So there's a thing in the Army Rangers called 1 is none and 2 is 1. So it's always having an alternative. They apply it to equipment and gear and everything. But same thing with escape routes. Like I mentioned already, the front door, the back door, this door. If you have to jump through a window, just know your surroundings. Know if something turns bad. If I'm starting to get a weird vibe from this guy, or like you're talking about, there's 4 guys. Oh crap! It'd be easy to be surrounded. Know where's the exit. It's a good thing you stood by maybe not a good thing. There's probably nothing that's going to happen, but
Right.
It's good to stand by the front door. But 4 guys can easily hold that door shut, and then you're trapped inside the house, right?
Right.
So just always thinking of the next step, the next thing to do. And don't forget about the deadbolts. Make sure. I know I did it once when we were looking for a house. We walked in, and when we walked in with my realtor, I put the deadbolt because I'm used to it. I always do that. Every time I go home, I don't go in and out to my car without deadbolting and locking. I just lock everything. And the realtor said, oh no, we need to leave the deadbolt unlocked. And she was a former cop, and that was why, because that's an escape route. So be good neighbors. If you get there early, ask the neighbors that are out walking their dog, or how's the neighborhood? Is there any crime going on? any cars getting broken into. I mean, that's probably good information just to pass along to the, maybe you don't want to pass that along to the client, but
You should. Anything you know, you must disclose.
but it would, if there's an uptick in, you know, assaults happening in a neighborhood, it'd be a good idea to know those kinds of things and ask. And most of the cities, they have crime blotters on their website. So if you're showing a house or a property in a, maybe a sketchy neighborhood, you can go and usually see up to 24, within the last, it'll go back weeks and weeks, but up to about 24 hours prior to. And you can see the crime that's happening right there in those neighborhoods. Make sure your battery's full. A lot of people forget that. I know they got, everyone's got a charger in their car, but you're on, and I'm sure you're probably like I am on your phone all day long. If you're not talking to someone doing business, maybe you're playing a game, you're texting somebody, just on Amazon, something. Just make sure your phone's charged. So that's the gist. Anybody got any questions? No? That's like I said, it's kind of basic for the most part. That's me. If you need anything from me or have any questions, something pops up later, that's my email if you need it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
A couple other things. I actually did take a safety course once. And I mean, we did some like punching gloves and things. I hated it because I don't like putting my hands on those things. But when we had talked about this last night, there's certain ways you can stand where you don't look like a target.
That's right.
Certain things you can do so that you're not. So I know as a woman, and I'm sure a lot of you do this, you stand like this with your legs crossed when you talk to people. But this is a really easy way to get pushed over.
So the way I'm standing, I always stand this way just because I had for 20 years, my gun was always on my right. So my right side is always away from people. But this is a balanced stance. So you can't get pushed over very easily.
Well, like this,
standing like
you're
this.
easy
Yeah,
gonna
that's
tip.
easy.
So someone could easily take, they told me something like that. And always if you do show at night, like he mentioned, be loud, bye guys, it was great seeing you,
Yeah.
love you, or whatever you're gonna say. But the louder you are, it's maybe not your client that would attack you, but even a neighbor or somebody who's just random, and then, you again have to pay attention to your surroundings. It's not always the person that you're meeting with. It could be anybody that could, potentially attack or with an intent to harm you or steal your car or steal your purse. So just make sure you're always if you're loud, you're less of a target because you're drawing attention to yourself. Definitely. So they don't want to, do those things.
Next time you go somewhere to some crowded area, especially an outdoor area, it's good, or at the gas station in a busy area. Usually when you're pumping gas, what are you doing? You got the thing in the pump and you're sitting here on your phone, or maybe you're in your car back on your phone. A lot of the thieves will go onto your passenger side, rip your purse out real quick, and you don't even hear them because you're standing here at the pump playing on your phone. But leave your phone in your car after you turn your car off and lock it, and while you're getting gas or if you're out in public, just stop and sit on a bench somewhere or at the gas pump and watch all the people that are around, and you'll start noticing all kinds of weird little things. So you'll start seeing the people that look maybe sketchy that you probably would never even notice before. You'll start picking up and noticing lots of things about people that I guarantee you never noticed before.
Crazy. People are crazy. So moral of the story: just be aware of your surroundings. Try and stay safe out there. If you don't have somebody to buddy system with, or if you don't feel comfortable with anybody in the brokerage to tell them where you're at, or your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever. I mean, I used to tell my mom, hey, I'm going to this showing. This is my list of showings. I should be done by this time. And just checking in as I got in the car. I mean, you're just driving. You might as well, hey, I'm going to my next showing. Talk to you later, bye. It takes seconds to keep yourself safer.
When you go to the houses and they have the lock boxes on the door, you use your phone to open them. Mm-hmm. Does it send? Is it capable of sending an email to specified people?
It can, but that lock box isn't ours, right? So it'll be the listing agent, and they could be from any brokerage, from anywhere, and we don't know. But yes, they can. It's like I have my lockboxes set to ping me whenever somebody opens them.
Yeah.
Which is, everybody in the brokerage uses it, but I just know what's going on with that house. Like
Yeah.
if I knew that
Just the ones
they
you
had, they had, restrictions from 8 to 5 and there's somebody accessing the property at 2:30, I'm gonna probably take note of that and,
Yeah.
call and see what's going on. But they're not our boxes, so if we go to someone else's, it's more of a kinda, right now for us, being on the buyer side or, entering homes that we aren't, just let somebody know. And if you don't have a buddy system and you don't have a friend or a mom or somebody to contact, just shoot me a text. And I take that really seriously. Ben thinks it's silly because I'm like always paying attention when people let me know where they're at. But it's just because I want, I just want everybody to stay safe.
Well, definitely.
And
Well,
would
this-
you suggest okay, cause I was gonna mention this and you may know Renee, with Keller Williams and everybody else. I know at Coldwell Banker they had a call-in where you could call any office at any time, and no matter where you were, and you could say, hey,
Like
this is
code
Marcy.
words.
Yeah, I'm meeting with Paul, I have an appointment with Paul Blue, and that word, the name, let them know something's wrong, and that they need to find out what property.
You were at.
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
It's definitely something we can look at implementing.
Okay, and they were like, and it also gets you on the phone
Mm-hmm.
to where,
Mm-hmm.
like it may deter something, is what they were trying to say, I was like, but.
Any redundancies you can have for your safety, like a code word,
Mhm.
all those are good ideas, for sure.
Awesome. Any other questions? Concerns? Do we scare you guys? Aw. Well,
I'm
that's
always
awesome. Real estate's great. Just
Okay.
keep yourself safe. Thank you so much, Robbie. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
you.
No problem. If you need anything, really, just give me an email.
What kind of gun do you recommend?
Depends on what you want one for.
All right, guys, we're going to cut off on live and we'll be here until 8 p.m. tonight. So, bye.
Is that quiet? Tickets okay?